Hello and welcome to your other weekly podcast here on Four Lads Had a Dream. My name's Andrew and I'm joined tonight by three of my very favourite podders. First of all, Kenny, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate, thank you. I hope you're well.
I'm very well. It's Friday. I'm feeling good. Next of all, we have Shona. How are you doing?
Good. I've got that Friday feeling. Looking forward to it. So yeah, looking forward to the weekend. Some nice weather. So
for sure. And finally, someone who I'm sure has got the Friday feeling in abundance. He's always a lighthouse of optimism, joy, and just sheer delight. It's Stevie. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, and do you know why I'm good? Because there's no Rangers this weekend. That means we can't disappoint us. I mean, we can't be let down. So no, I'm in seriousness. Yeah, good to be here.
Lovely stuff. We obviously have plenty to talk about, despite there being no Rangers games going on at the moment. Our CEO's left. We have I think, game-changing announcement in terms of the SPFL rules. We have some new players. And, of course, we also have some strong transfer rumours as well. So we're going to chat about all of that tonight. But first off, Kenny, I want to come to you first. No more James Bisgrove. We got the announcement, I think, late on Thursday, that he was heading away to a Saudi club to be their new CEO. I think we can probably read between the lines in terms of the fact that it was a Saudi offer. You know, what the kind of compensation is going to look like. Obvious reasons for him personally to leave. I think that's 5 years in total he's been at the club, first as the commercial director and then latterly as the CEO. So, yeah, I mean, your kind of thoughts, immediate reaction to that? How'd you take the news, I guess, when it was first announced?
Surprised. Taken aback a little bit. Didn't see that coming. A little bit disappointed. I think he's only been in situ for a year, so you know there's only so much you can do in that time. You look back on his period at Rangers, he managed to do a fantastic job in the commercial and marketing side of it. He had managed to start from a very low base, to be fair, but he had managed to take us, on leaps and bounds, in terms of getting money generated into the club. So obviously, too good an opportunity to knock back when you're getting that kind of offer, to be perfectly fair to the guy. You can't do anything about that, Andrew. Mm-hmm. You can't, and Rangers can't step in and hold them back on that kind of opportunity. You can't do that. Right. You have to just give him the opportunity to go, Andrew, and look after and take care of his family for many generations, by the sounds of it. So fair play to him. But disappointed. More about, in concerning the stability of the football club. There's been so much upheaval at a boardroom level over the past couple of years. There's, managers coming and going as well. And I'm just crying out for a little bit of stability now. And yesterday's news didn't really help me in terms of keeping me calm, Andrew, and looking forward to this summer. But as I say, in terms of James Bisgrove, good luck to him. And it is far too good an opportunity not back. So, I can understand why he's decided to leave.
No, absolutely. I can't disagree with any of that. Shona?
Yeah, it's life-changing money for the guy, isn't it? So, I have got no qualms on him leaving. I think what he's done, he's brought record revenues into our football club. He might have got one thing wrong, but I think he never got the support from that kind of side of things when we're talking about, I don't really want to go into it, but when we talk about the Australian friendly, but he brought in Clement and Coppin. I think he changed the structure around the football club as well. He put people in their specific positions to the more speciality of what they can actually do within the football club. He's got a very, very good CV. And I think overall, for me, I think he did a really, really good job. I know the people out there that disagree with that. But all the clubs around the world have got good managers, do you know what I mean? And just obviously we need to just decide what goes on off the pitch now. So, as far as I'm aware, the recruitment will still go ahead and that won't be affected. So, fair play to the guy. He's gone on to not bigger things, but I think Rangers are a bigger club. But for him financially, it is a bigger opportunity for him. So, fair play to the boy. And I'm sure Stevie will have a lot to say now.
Yeah, listen, got to know James quite well over the 5 years he's been here. personally and working with him at the football club, I was one of the first people to interview James when he came here, and he says, I'll get 10 million revenue this year. He done it. Told me in the follow-up interview the next year that he would treble that. He done it. Told me in the follow-up interview on season on year 3 that they would be hitting towards over 35, hitting towards 40. He brought in Castor and said that there would be record revenue for them in time. Last season they got 7.5 million plus from the Castor deal or last set of accounts. So I don't think James Bisgrove has done too much wrong commercially and income-wise. I think he's done a really good job. For me personally, and probably all the fan media boys, but for me personally, he's been fantastic. A huge fan of fan media. The interviews you see, Andrew, on Four Lads with the likes of, the financial director talking to the supporters, which was a huge thing. I mean, how many clubs would let your financial guy sit down with a blogger and tell, a half an hour podcast? James organised all that. He organised access to the club for various things. So from our point of view, him going is really disappointing because we had so much more lined up, not only with James himself, but with other people at the club in high positions, and that was all organised by James. So he really valued the fan insight and valued fan media and being open and transparent with the support on as much as he could, which I liked. And when somebody gets a life-changing sort of offer, I don't think we can begrudge anybody. It's a bit like a footballer when that big transfer comes, and they can triple their wages or hit 100 grand a week or whatever, thanks very much. Doesn't happen a lot to us. It should happen, but we've not been able to achieve that. But when you get that big offer, regardless, then I don't think you can expect somebody these days. James is a bit of a high flyer, isn't he? He came from UEFA. He's got a fantastic reputation. 5 years he's given Rangers. He's, people have a lot to say about James, and a lot of it is based on stuff they don't really know what's true. And it's all right to speculate on Twitter and say, James leaving's a great thing. And, I know lots of things that James has apparently done that you don't know. But the reality of it is that James has left Rangers in a better place than he was coming commercially, and that'll be his legacy. There was mistakes, as Shona says, Australia and stuff like that. But James was one of the first people to put his hands up when he done that and say, aye, that's my fault. And he was straight on giving an interview saying, this is why I did it and this is what I tried to do. So yeah, it was the wrong thing. And James and I, it wasn't always sunshine and light. He said to me yesterday that he kind of enjoyed, that the kind of critical thought process and stuff behind it, because, I'm pretty blunt. What I say on here is what I say to people within the club. So yeah, really disappointing. And I think, like Kenny says, the stability thing for the club overall as a whole, if you put James to the side for 1 minute, your CEO leaving with less than a year's service is disappointing, isn't it? So that's a big issue for me. I would have liked to have seen him stay, but when you get an offer like that, it's funny. He said to me yesterday as well that most likely, we'll end up with a bigger transfer fee for him, Andrew, than we will for half of this first team squad. So at least we're going to get some sort of money, and it's important that we go and replace him. I don't think this is out the blue. It's been rumoured now for the best part of a month, easily. So I don't think this is out the blue, and I'd like to think Rangers, we wouldn't be in the situation where we were, when Ross Wilson left and we're like, do we replace him, don't we replace him, and then we have to go and replace him, and by then there's been too much under the water. I would like to think that Rangers have been aware of the possibility of this. You start, casting your net a wee bit, don't you? Who's available? Who might be interested? Where can we go if this does become a formality? And James won't have walked in the office at the start of the week and suddenly said, right, that's me off. There's a due process there which he would have undertaken as well. So I'm pretty sure that the club would be well down the line to knowing James's thoughts and where he was going. So overall, I think for the club, stability-wise and things like that, I think it's a bad move. And I think that commercially will be his legacy. It's not infallible, but commercially I think is where he's really done well. And for us as fan media and what we've done, access to the football club, he's been tremendous. So I thank him for that. And personally to deal with, he's been very, very good. And I know that within the corridors at Ibrox, he's very well thought of. So, yeah, I wish him all the best. I really do. I wish somebody was offering me 100 grand a week to go and host a pod in Saudi, to be honest. I would take you all with me. But
one day, Stevie, one day.
I'd be off quite quickly. So, yeah, wish him all the best. And it's all about what happens next for Rangers, isn't it? Like, let's go and get somebody, in a position that can can go and do that job and take us to the next level. James has put the foundations commercially and income wise and stuff like that, but we need somebody that maybe is a wee bit more savvy about running Rangers for what Rangers is. So it's a big challenge again for the board, and like Kenny says, it's a stability thing we need to try and nail down.
Where do you think we should go in terms of looking for a new CEO, Stevie? If to all of you, but Stevie, because you're talking about it, do you think we stay in Scotland? Do we look for somebody that's perhaps ran a football club? Do we think out the box? I've actually been thinking about this the last 24 hours or so, and I don't actually know. I can't actually sit and say, I've heard a few folks say, go for Leanne Dempster or go for, somebody that's already in football, in Scottish football. And there's nobody actually sticks out like a sore thumb for me in terms of who you would go and approach. So what do you think, Stevie? What's your kind of take on it? What's your opinion?
It's got to be somebody strong. I think somebody that knows the job and knows the position, but without, I'm not going to sit here and the person that comes in has to deal with our issues that we have with the governing body. I think that's like an ongoing thing. Like there's always something, isn't there, every season, no matter what it is. So they have to be strong enough and intelligent enough to deal with that. They're facing a CEO and a boardroom over it at Celtic, our greatest rivals that are pretty strong and know what they're doing. And I'm not here to kind of discuss them, but I'm saying if we want to be able to be on that playing field, then we need a CEO that's savvy enough to have experience of what to do in a football club and experience enough how to hold their own for Rangers' point of view. So yeah, I'm like you. I don't have any names. Like, you know what I mean? This isn't one where I could say, yeah, Leanne Dempster would be a lovely appointment. I think Leanne Dempster, in fairness to her, has went through a pretty serious illness, and that we wish her obviously all the best.
Yeah.
And I would have said to you, Leanne Dempster 5-6 years ago would have been in the running for that kind of position at Rangers, but I'm not sure where she is personally. A lovely woman, but that's the type of profile maybe we would have been looking for before, but I'm not sure now where we would be. It would be nice if whoever we appointed, it was a progressive appointment, somebody strong, somebody knows what to do and things like that. I would hate to see us appoint somebody that's a little bit of a, well, what are we going to get here? I think Rangers need to be strong in this appointment. So hopefully we get it. But I don't have a name or a list or somebody that I would want to go to.
What you've said there hints to somebody Scottish to me. Somebody that knows the nuances of Scottish football.
No, well, it doesn't necessarily. I would be more pointing to the fact that it needs to be somebody with CEO experience at top level. I think that's really important.
Yeah, but Scottish. That's what I would think. Genuinely, that's what I'm taking from what you're saying. That somebody that knows the nuances of Scottish football, knows the politics of it, and is a CEO elsewhere. And there won't be many of them, but
yeah,
it's a tough find that actually to find the person that's going to be right to replace him.
Well, I was going to say, Kenny, I think from Bisgrove's perspective, he obviously was not that familiar with Rangers and Scottish football as a whole, right? But he quickly got an education. I think the Australian, friendly situation obviously helped speed up that education, I think, or get really a feeling as far as he was concerned for, what our weird little league is like. So it is going to be interesting, I think, to see who comes in. But we must move on. We have other things to talk about tonight, fellas. No more plastic pictures, Shona. I mean, I don't imagine we're going to have too much debate about this on the podcast, but I think that's fairly universally positive news, at least as far as we're concerned, right?
Yeah, it's news that probably should have happened maybe 5 or 6 years ago, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, it is really, really good news. Let's just hope it all goes through. I don't think it should have had to have gone to a vote. I think the SFA should have just had their own opinion about it and just continued on by saying to the guys in this league that you should have at the top level, you should all have a grass football pitch. I think it's a disgrace at this level that we do have plastic pitches, and it just doesn't look good from a TV perspective either. So yeah, it's really good news, and that's all I really want to say on it, to be honest, because I don't really want to go into the SFA. So but yeah, no, I think as far as I'm concerned, this is great news, but it should have happened a long, long time ago.
How many injured players have we lost to pitches at Kilmarnock and Livingston and stuff like that? You look at
Not too many.
Yeah, you look at, I think Ryan Kent got a serious injury at Kilmarnock. Graham Dorrans, I think, got a really serious injury down there.
Jamie Murphy.
Yeah, Jamie Murphy as well. Got a really
Waghorn.
serious. Waggy, yeah, I remember that. And then took the penalty and had to go off, didn't he? And he was out for a long time. And then just as recently, Cortez getting injured at Kilmarnock for the rest of the season, which looking back on now, was a really pivotal moment in our season.
It was.
So that's only Rangers, and we look at it from a Rangers perspective. It'd be interesting to see other clubs, maybe fans of Motherwell and stuff like that, would be able to point and say we've had 3 or 4 injured as well, kind of thing. But we certainly haven't had any luck on these surfaces. I don't think they're productive to good football, that's for sure. So I am very happy, and they're such a leveler, aren't they? Like, when you go to places like Livy and stuff like that, which shouldn't be struggling, but we've always found it difficult on plastic pitches. So yeah, I'm not sorry to see the back of them, that's for sure. It should have been. I'm with the others as well. It should have been a long time ago. This has happened. So
it's also ridiculous that teams have got to sit there or go to these places and not pick certain players because of previous injuries over years, that they actually, your medical teams are actually turning and saying he actually can't play on astrograss. He can't play on a plastic pitch because it'll cause him damage. That in itself is a leveler, Stevie, never mind the fact that the surface is, I remember one game in particular, I think it was, I'm sure it was Gerrard's first season, and it might have been Gerrard's first game there. And I always remember the ball getting played over the top, excuse me, and the bounce of the ball, it bounced with a spin on it. And our player, one of our new players, can't remember who it was, kept running, and the Livy player knew it's coming back away. And you're thinking, that is just outrageous that you've got a surface like that one player knows exactly how it's going to bounce and another player has not got a clue what's happening on a surface. So the sooner they're gone, the better. And I know it's 2026, but I agree with Shona. It should have been gone years ago. It's not good for the game here.
I think that's all fair. Like I said, I didn't imagine we'd have anyone arguing strongly in favour of plastic pitches. So yeah, it is what it is. I think it is a good news story. The only problem is it's not going to happen until the start of 26-27, I believe. So it's 2 years until it comes into effect, which is disappointing, but I suppose it does give time to some of the clubs to adjust and get themselves ready with some grass instead. Let's talk about some of the players. Well, one player who we already definitely know we've got in, and then just a couple of the other players who we've been linked with as well. Hefty's already in, which is good. New left back. I think it's interesting to see what that means for that position. Does Ryan Fraser, step in as the backup? Do we still have Yilmaz, who's going to stick around? Is that going to happen? I think there's a debate to be had there, but just on the face of it, obviously never having seen this guy play for Rangers. Shona, I guess I'll come to you first. Excited about the player?
I like a good Brazilian, don't I? So, yeah. So that's the second one that's arrived at the club, so I'm quite happy about that. No, look, this guy's I think he's had like 31 appearances this year. He's had 3 goals. He's very, very similar, kind of between the kind of very pacey left back, so he is, but he can also put in a cross. He seems very good in the air as well. So I think he's a bit of a cross between, I think a lot of people have compared him between Bassett and Barisic, but obviously Barisic when he was in his prime. He's, as I said, he can take corners. His crossing ability is really good. His dribbling success is pretty high. His long passing range as well is pretty decent. So look, I think we've got ourselves a really young player here. I think there's quite a wee bit of development to be done on his defensive side, but I think going forward he's going to offer us quite a lot. But it is a bit of a project one. The guy's very, very young, so we know that he's going to have defensive mistakes. He's going to be a bit of a project player, but to have him and Robbie Fraser as your backup, I think would be quite good going into this season. We've always said this. I think I've spoken to Stevie and yourselves before, but I think we have to move. We've moved on from Borna, but for me, it's a case of what happens now with Ridvan, and I'm sure we'll go on to discuss that. But I think Ridvan has shown to me in the last couple of games he's been quite exposed when it comes defensively, especially balls coming in the box. I think Ridvan can offer a lot going forward. Can't put a cross in though, can he? So look, I think for me, Ridvan. I would try and sell him in the summer. I think you get decent money for him. I think his injury record as well this year has not been great. But no, as far as I'm concerned, I quite like the look of this boy, Yefty. Look, I'm only looking at maybe previous games that he's played in, and obviously YouTube videos. So like, what you take from YouTube is what you take. I don't know if any of you guys have seen him on Football Manager, but for me, he's the kind of type of player that we want in. He's very young. He's very energetic. He's probably going to be on low wages compared to the likes of maybe Ridvan and Borna Barisic that were there before. And then obviously you've got Robbie Fraser as your backup. So no, I'm quite excited about this young boy. I think he's going to offer us a lot going forward. And it's just a case of what does he do defensively? Because obviously we know that we've conceded quite a few goals in the latter stages of the season. So yeah, that'll be one to look out for. But no, I'm really excited about this boy. I think he'll be a player for us.
See, this is why I love coming to you first, Shona. I just get all the stats as well. It's fantastic. Kenny,
I'm looking
Stevie?
forward to him not being Borna Barisic or Ridvan Yilmaz. I'm not a fan of either, and I never have been. And if you'd listened to me over the last couple of years, you'd know that. I like Borna Barisic in his prime. I thought he was a fine player for us, and all the best to him wherever it is he does go if he goes to Turkey. Ridvan Yilmaz, I've just looked at him over the last 2 years. Can't play 6 or 7 games in a row. He just can't do it. So we have to be honest with it and say, is that something to do with the rigours of the game here? Is it the physicality, of our game, or is it just the fact that he's still young? So I'm trying to be fair to the guy as well. But yeah, I'm delighted that young Robbie Fraser's going to hopefully be in the first team squad, and he can fight it out with Yefty for the position. All I know about Yefty is, and that's with the same videos you've probably seen, he carries the ball really, really well. He carries it, and he carries it, at pace. So, a little bit like Yilmaz in that sense. I just hope that with the physicality he's got, he's a bigger lad. I think he's 6 foot. Looks very fast. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what the boy looks like, and all the best to him. I hope he's... When you consider how little we've actually paid for him, I hope he's a wee diamond in the rough there, so we can work on him.
I think the thing is, like, if we're talking about Phil Clement wanting to get to this 90% availability for all players, it doesn't look good just on the face of it for Ridvan in that perspective. But it's going to be a long old summer. We've got plenty of other players we have been linked with. It's going to be interesting to see, the kind of player profile that we're looking at. I think Hefty obviously fits that kind of thing where he's young, talented. Hopefully we're looking to grow the player there. But Stevie, I wouldn't let you get away without making a little comment there. Don't you worry, I'd come back to you.
I was just a bit worried about where the podcast was going. Shona talked about liking Brazilians, Kenny going on about diamonds in the rough and stuff like that. Andy, I was a bit worried.
Me talking about young, promising talent. What did you think I was talking about something else? I
would just I've not got much to add on both of them. I would say that one thing I did pick up from reading about Hefty is that he's got a 44 chance creation stat from his crossing, like Shona said. So he's more or less, creating a chance every 1, 2, 1 and 3 kind of ish. So 44% of his crosses are right on point, creating something. So that's pretty decent. It doesn't seem high, but actually for stats people, and what I was reading, that is quite a high turnover. So yeah, I'm looking forward to freshness. I'm with Kenny. I liked Ridvan. I thought Ridvan was a wee warrior. I thought it was about a 6-week period where he was absolutely great, and then he got injured. And again, like, it took him ages to come back, and then greeting in the office and all that. Do you really need that? I'm not sure we do. I think we need something a wee bit more robust. And then he came back, like Shona said, make mistakes against Dundee, make mistakes at Hart, turning the back at the back post. And I started to ask myself, do I really like him just because he's not Borna? And I'm sick of Borna a wee bit. So I think we all are. No disrespect to Borna. I think he's a lovely guy. I think he's a really nice guy. He's done great service for 6 years for $1 million and a bit. It's definitely, it's definitely time to move on, I think, from him. So wish him all the best. Yilmaz, could we get 4 or 5 million for him? Yeah, I think we could. So I just think that the kind of availability has put me off there. So yeah, let's see what, I'm just going to call him Jeff. Let's see what Jeff's got at left back. You know what I mean?
Hefty.
Is it Hefty? Is it Jeffy? Hefty? Jeff? I don't know. Let's see what we get. Let's see what he's got at left back. So
it was a hefty fee.
I'm going to move
obviously.
on.
It is Friday, folks. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, yeah. Everyone's working to the best of their abilities, so you know. Right. Let's talk about the couple of players we've been linked with. No confirmations yet. Damian Garcia, again, kind of fits that player profile. Young, talented player. Plays as number 6. In fact, Shona, I'm sorry. I'm stealing your stats that you gave me earlier, so I'll let you take the floor.
No, on you go. No, but he plays at number 6, like you said. I think he's exactly the type of player that we need at this moment in time. I think we've been crying out for a number 6. I think we also need a number 10. Look, he's played for the under-21s for the Uruguayan squad. He's had 11 appearances this year. He's got an 83% passing accuracy, which is really, really telling for a number 6. So, like, his market value is quite low. He's young. He's only 20 years of age. Really like the look of this boy. So, are Rangers interested in him? It looks like they are. So, like, if they can get this one over the line, I think this would be a really good signing for me. He's exactly the type of player that we've been looking for in that number 6 role, and he's young and he's hungry and he looks quite physical in the midfield. So, yeah, this Damian Garcia looks like the one for me, I think, in the number 6 role. So, let's hope we can get that over the line, and it's a small fee at the end of the day. Stevie, what do you say?
I'm letting you go, Stevie.
Andrew, it's a proper number 6, mate. I am moist with excitement in the terms of actually being linked to number 6, not having to watch 8s and 10s trying to do that job. We haven't had a number 6 that can dictate since the days of Glenn Kamara when he could be bothered and Stephen Davis bossing it. So, you know what I mean? Like, Glenn was a fantastic player for us, but towards the end he kind of chucked it a wee bit, didn't he? Like last year or so, he wasn't really that fussed. But if we can get an actual 6, the difference that will make to Diamande, Raskin, you know, maybe even Cantwell, who knows who's going to still be here. But these boys, like a proper guy that can dictate, tackle, recycle, quickly passing 83%, like Shona said. By the way, under-20s World Cup winner with Uruguay. So this boy's got a wee bit of pedigree, isn't he? Like, so if you're playing at that level, then yeah, get him in. I'm excited about this one. So something tells me as well that I've seen this wee guy on Football Manager somewhere as well. So yeah, you know how I love my Football Manager players. So yeah, I am. It fits the profile. I think it's an exciting one. Clement says we need to be savvy, didn't we? We need to be really clever about what we're doing in the window. This to me seems like a clever one.
Yeah, he's young, isn't he? He's 20, still 20. Yeah, and look, with the stats that Shona threw into the group chat, he's the one that really stood out for me, I have to say, of all the ones that were kind of being linked with in terms of the media anyway. Yeah, he looks a proper player, actually. And, you know, coming from Uruguay, he'll be hard. That's a tough league. He plays for Penarol. Plays for Penarol, a very famous old club. I'm real excited about that kind of link. I've got to say that's one that really stood out for me.
Stevie, you're getting glorious.
Stevie is right now. Innuendos on the programme tonight, guys.
Shocking lack of professionalism, honestly.
I started it, didn't
I? Right, let's move on. Jesus. Adama Traore. Again, Shona, I'll let you do your stats and then we'll open up to a general chat, maybe give Stevie some time to recover himself.
Yeah, I think this one's going to cost us a wee bit of money, this boy. So he is 20 years of age. He's a right winger. He plays for no, I've got this wrong, haven't I? Farenvaras.
Yeah.
How do you say it? Don't start laughing at me. Farenvaras.
No, I'm still laughing. Ferencvaros.
Ferencvaros, that's it, sorry. And he's a Malian international. He's got 12 appearances this year. He's got 7 goals, 1 assist, and he's got 99 minutes per goal. He's got a good European record. He's already scored 3 goals in the Champions League. He has been slightly injured this season, so that's kind of stuttered his. Hopefully that suits us, doesn't it? So, but look, he still scored goals this year, even though obviously I think he scored around 14 goals, even though he has been injured, which is still double figures. And in the previous season, he had 73 games and scored 32 goals. So we are the front runners to sign this boy. He is slightly older. He is going to cost us a wee bit more money. I think Steve will go into obviously seeing him on Football Manager again in a moment. But yeah, for me, he looks like the type of player that we kind of need out in that right wing. We have been crying out for a right winger ever since Candeas left. and we've not really managed to get it. So I think for him to be out there with the likes of McCausland, and then you've got Simon, hopefully Cortez, I think that would be really, really good for going over for next season. So yeah, I would quite like to see this one getting over the line, but I think it's going to cost Rangers a bit of money.
Kenny?
Don't know much about this guy at all. Watched Stevie on the Rangers Review discuss him earlier in the week. Yeah, I don't think Stevie was overly impressed with the injury record. I'll be honest, I genuinely don't know anything about him. The one thing I would say in terms of the profile, at 28, I'm not convinced at that kind of money. I've got to be fair. I think we should be perhaps looking younger if we're going to spend that kind of money. But look, it might be down to the manager who knows him and has just said, like, I really do want this guy or whatever. I don't know. But look, I just look at the numbers that you said there, Shona, and I look at Fashion Sakala, and he was hitting those numbers the last couple of years as well. And, and to be fair to the guy, as you said, he's only played half a season, but I just don't know anything about him. But his injury record this season, as you say, he'll fit right in.
His injury record this season isn't good. He missed half the year, but the previous 2 seasons, I think he's quite high and he's hardly missed any. So I think this might have just been like a one-off. And in fairness, though, my kind of anxiety over it comes at spending $3.5-4 million on a 28-year-old. I remember last summer, and we had to say, I was kind of trying to justify it and say, we need that experience, we need this, and we need that. And look, Rangers are dealing in a market, Andrew, that's really difficult, really, really difficult. We're going to have to take a couple of punts in there. Hefty might be a punt at left back based on what we can turn him into, and we need to do that. And there might be a case where you can get an experienced player like this at still a decent age, who's got an eye for goal, who is fast, who does play in the wing that we need. And we do have to spend slightly more on him. But as Kenny says, the manager might have really pinpointed him. So with regard to what happens with this deal and if it gets done, then we'll just need to wait and see on it. But at least they're looking at wingers. That's what I take from it.
The one thing is, though, Stevie, is the finished article. He's already
yeah. I think that's a really good.
You can say he can play right wing and he's very good at it. So he is the finished article. Just obviously, you said the money and the age.
Yeah, $3.5 million though may as well be 30 million for us. Let's be honest. If you're signing somebody for $3.5 million, it's got to be right. It's got to be good, doesn't it? So yeah, that's it. So last guy I think we signed round about that age, Dessers and Lammers. Last year, you look at Sam, you're going to have to try and get that money back from him, which hopefully we will, since he's turned into Ronaldinho in Holland, but and couldn't kick a ball in Scotland. But Cyril's done all right with 22 goals and things like that. But if we're paying big money for somebody like Adama Traore, then he's really got to hit the ground running. I'm not saying he has to be Brian Laudrup, he has to be more Neil McCann. I think that's probably fair if we're spending that kind of money on him. But right-sided, fast, left-footed, likes the eye to go. In theory, he should be a good signing. He should be what we're looking for, but we're all just so burned by stuff that's happened before, I think, maybe. So, and plus, watching me on Rangers Review, it's early in the morning, Kenny. I'm always grumpy about stuff.
Listen,
yeah, as opposed to normally when you're like really happy and cheery, right?
Yeah, I'm a happy guy, Andrew. You know that.
Yeah.
It is, though. It's just it is a big window for us, and we have to get whatever money we do have, we have to spend it really well. And we'll wait and see with Traore. I just don't know anything about him. So intriguing that we are really quite heavily linked with him, isn't it? As you say, Shona, we look to be favourites to sign him, apparently. So interesting.
There's a few more being linked in, the likes of Liam Kelly, and that rumour won't go away. Allegedly done close, whatever you want to call it, as a replacement for John McLaughlin and Robbie O'Crory, who's going to be going out the door. Robbie wants first team football, which I think is fair enough. A real shame. Thought he did okay last year in the games he came in, and then he went to Easter Road and kind of had a bit of an afternoon where everybody went, "Oh, you're not good enough," which is a real shame considering how well he done in previous games. But Liam Kelly most likely maybe come in homegrown. He's Rangers grown as well, European wise. So you look at him, and then Kieran Wright as your goalies behind Butland, and then all of a sudden you've got Robbie Fraser, Leon King, if he's still there, Ross McCausland, and then John Suter. So your Scotland bit where we were struggling in years before is suddenly up at 6 already. So you know what I mean? It's looking a lot more healthier squad wise already. So I would expect maybe Liam Kelly to come in. There's too much noise over that not to happen, I think. And then, there's a couple other, like the Connor Barron stuff just refuses to go away. I'd really like to get him. He's an interesting one. And we still need to find out who's leaving. So it's, the 1st of June tomorrow. Are we going to get that list that tells us that everybody's off? Or, and obviously, one of the names on that list isn't going to be Leon Balogun. So we know that Leon signed a 1-year deal, not been announced by Rangers, weirdly. I think that's got a lot to do with the Jose Cordoba thing falling through. I think if he had signed, maybe they would have said Leon is here for another year and that's going to make up, at least part of our defence. But he's not here. Leon, I think that the big guy can do a job, can't he? Like, I think he can perform at times. He's got a moment in him like they all do, but for stability and for that kind of presence at the back, I don't know about you guys, I'm quite happy that he's another year. It's different keeping Leon Balogun, but I'm really against keeping Borna Barisic, John Lundstrom and the others. But if Balogun stays, I think people will be okay with it. If a few of the others stay as well, I think people will start going, no, this is really just going to be the same as this season. So they have to get that balance right.
The Balogun thing for me, I think, is if he's there as the 4th choice defender, people will be fine with that. If we bring in other central defenders, it's been this season where suddenly he's gone from being a backup squad player to being your 1st choice central defender. And if we end up in that situation again this coming season, I think fans will be much less impressed with that. But yeah, Kenny, I'll come to you. I'm sorry, mate.
No, it's okay. It depends on whether Ben Davis and Connor Goldson are going, because if they don't go and we're sitting there with those 3 and another coming in, then I don't think most fans will take kindly to that, to be honest, because let's not kid ourselves on. In the second half of this season, our defence has been pretty ropey, and the centre halves have been pretty ropey, and it doesn't matter who we've managed to play in there. What I would say about Balogun is he's been the best of the 4 all season. When Clement came in, he was his first pick, basically, wasn't he? And alongside Goldson. So I'm quite happy. I really like Balogun as a player, really do like him. So I'm happy that he's staying. But I tend to agree with you, Andrew, and what you've said there. And I think, Stevie, you alluded to it on the review as well, that if he's the 4th choice, then nobody should really be too concerned with that, particularly if Leon King's staying as well, where we have plenty of options there. And Balogun's not let us down at all. So, yeah, quite happy with that. And he can play fullback as well. So,
sure. Listen, folks, it's been great talking to you. I think on Monday we will be having a chat about who's gone, who we would like to still see go, potentially, and potentially be talking about potential more new incomings as well. So, plenty to talk about. We hope you continue to stick with 4 Lads over the summer break. But in the meantime, I'd like to thank my lovely guests tonight. First of all, Stevie, as ever, a ray of sunshine and joy.
Thank you, everyone. I'm a very happy person. Don't let this fool you. I mean, I'm a bundle of joy. So, please like and subscribe, folks. We have built up quite a wee following, and there's thousands of you listening and watching and commenting and that, and we love it. So, please get involved and keep watching. Thank you very much.
For sure. Can't agree more. Shona, always a pleasure.
Yeah, always a pleasure, never sure. And yeah, thanks to everybody that's obviously watching. Really appreciate it. We've got quite a lot of stuff coming up, obviously, in the next few weeks. And then hopefully we might be trying to do something like a live show and a Q&A with the people in there as well. So yeah, guys, please get involved. We'd really like to see you get involved in the comments and whatnot. So, but yeah, thanks for watching.
Sure. And finally, but certainly not least, Kenny, always a pleasure, mate.
Cheers, Andrew. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I just know Stevie's going to slaughter me for my diamond in the rough statement comment as soon as we come off air, so that'll be funny.
Right, and with that, folks, it's been a pleasure having you join us, whether you're listening or watching. It's always been great to have you and your feedback. We continue to grow strength from strength, which is miraculous to me, but always happy to see you guys in the comments and tuning in as well. So thank you very much, and until we talk to you again, bye for now. Four Lads Bite-Sized Podcast is proud to be sponsored by Rhino Express and Clydeview Joinery, certified fire door installer and maintainer. Also in association with Rangers Pools, Zenith Coins and Alexander Campbell Interiors. Please share and follow the pod to help us grow. We hope you enjoyed the show.